Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate of Oman continues to facilitate the return of a number of citizens and nationals of other countries from Iran via Muscat International Airport. For the ninth consecutive day, Iran and Israel exchanged attacks as the foreign ministers of Islamic countries discuss steps to stop the military escalation. And dozens are killed by Israeli occupation forces in Gaza, and UNRWA renews its commitment to providing services to the Palestinian refugees. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Within the framework of continuous efforts to facilitate the return of Omani citizens from the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Foreign Ministry announced about the fifth phase of the evacuation plan implemented by the ministry in coordination with the relevant authorities in the Sultanate of Oman and its mission in Tehran, as the government has secured the return of 181 Omani citizens and a number of nationals from other countries today. This came after their evacuation from the city of Mashhad in the Islamic Republic of Iran via the Republic of Turkmenistan to the homeland by air, arriving at Muscat International Airport. The ministry confirms the continuation of its efforts in cooperation with the competent authorities to complete the remaining stages of the evacuation and bring back all Omani citizens safe and sound to the homeland. The Sultanate of Oman participated in the meeting of foreign ministers of Islamic countries in the Turkish city of Istanbul. The meeting discussed the ongoing Israeli attacks on Iran and their consequences for regional security and stability, as well as diplomatic efforts to halt the military escalation. The meeting also discussed the ongoing Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip, restrictions on humanitarian aid, and the critical living and health conditions facing the Strip's residents. The Sultanate of Oman's delegation to the meeting was headed by His Excellency Sheikh Khalifa bin Ali Al Harthi, Under-Secretary of the Foreign Ministry for Political Affairs. During his speech at the meeting of the foreign ministers of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan called on countries with influence over Israel not to side with it and to seek a solution to the conflict through dialogue and prevent the expansion of the war. The Turkish president described the Israeli attacks on Iran as aimed at sabotaging the nuclear talks between Tehran and Washington, indicating that Israel has no desire to resolve problems through diplomatic means. Erdogan also urged Islamic countries to intensify their efforts to impose punitive measures against Israel based on international law and UN resolutions. The Israeli attack on Iran continues for the ninth consecutive day, amid international calls to allow diplomacy to reduce tensions in the region. Iranian media confirmed that an Israeli attack targeted a nuclear site in Isfahan province without any leakage of hazardous materials in the area. Meanwhile, 2 members of Iranian rescue teams were killed in an Israeli drone attack in the city of Khurram-Abad. The Revolutionary Guard also announced the death of 5 of its forces in the same area. On the other hand, air raid sirens sounded in northern Israel after Iran launched drones targeting various areas in Israel, causing extensive damage to buildings in the Israeli town of Beit Shean. In the Gaza Strip, dozens of people were killed and others injured by Israeli occupation fire, most of whom were trying to obtain food in the Strip. Meanwhile, the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF warned that the Gaza Strip is facing a man-made drought as water networks collapse. Health authorities in Gaza said that at least 25 people were killed by Israeli fire while waiting for aid trucks south of Netzarim access in the central Gaza Strip. 19 people were killed in Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, including 12 in home in Deir al-Balah. Commissioner General Filippi Lazzarini of United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees UNRWA affirmed the international organization's commitment to continuing to provide services and assistance to the Palestinian refugees until a just solution is found, given the harsh conditions they face, particularly in Gaza and the West Bank. The UN agency stated that the conditions facing Palestinian refugees in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank are tough, particularly given their forced displacement for 77 years. Still to come on News Bulletin. Bayt al-Sharaf Museum is a touristic destination in the village of Al-Uqr in Wilaya of Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Sultanate of Oman is participating as the guest of honor in the 56th edition of the Algiers International Fair held at the Exhibition Palace from June 23rd to 28th of this year. More details in the following report.
Based on the latest visit by His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, the Sultanate of Oman is participating as a guest of honor in the 56th edition of the Algiers International Fair, held at the Exhibition Palace from June 23rd to 28th of this year. This participation reflects the depth and strength of bilateral and economic relations between the two brotherly countries, as the Sultanate of Oman views Algeria as a country with promising opportunities for cooperation in the fields of investment, trade and industry. The participation aims to explore various partnerships in the Algerian, regional and international markets. The Omani delegation is headed by His Excellency Qais bin Mohammed Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, with participation from several public and private sector entities. The Omani pavilion at the International Fair includes more than 60 companies and institutions from various industrial, commercial and service sectors, including companies specializing in pharmaceuticals, transportation, electrical transformations, real estate, tourism, fisheries, food products, handicrafts, and other industries. The Algiers International Fair, held annually, attracts thousands of visitors and participants from different countries worldwide. The Omani participation will enhance its commercial and investment presence on the international stage, showcase the incentives and facilities offered to investors, and open new horizons for the local private sector to build sustainable partnerships supporting economic diversification efforts and regional integration.
The development financial accreditation for the 10th five-year plan increased to approximately 11 billion Omani riyals, with a rise by 72%. The Ministry of Economy explained that since the plans launched in 2021 and until the end of the first quarter of this year, 95% of the plan's 412 strategic programs have entered into force. These programs are distributed according to the various priorities and objectives of the implementing agencies. These programs cover the targeted priorities in the four axes of Oman Vision 2040. The ministry indicated that the plan's financial increase is attributed to the strengthening of projects and programs with a social dimension, economic diversification projects, government development projects, and the continuous improvement of the investment environment. In the village of Al-Uqr in the wilaya of Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar, Yusuf bin Nasser Al-Amri has turned his ancestral home into a private museum called Bayt al-Sharaf, a project dedicating to preserving mountain heritage. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi brings us the story.
High in the mountains of the Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar lies the village of Al-Aqr, where stone homes and mud walls still hold fast to the identity of the land. The architecture speaks of endurance and the landscape of quiet harmony. Among these homes, Yusuf bin Nasser Al-Amri took it upon himself to restore the house of his childhood, transforming it into Bayt al-Sharaf Museum, a cultural and tourism initiative rooted in memory and built on the principles of sustainable heritage. At first glance, it may seem like just another old mountain house until you step inside.
أنا ولدت في هذا البيت سنة 1977.
I was born in this house in 1977. It is located in the village of Al-Aqr, which dates back over 800 years. As a way to revive the home and preserve its story, we decided to transform it into a museum, a destination for visitors. The idea had been on my mind for years, especially as I noticed more and more people visiting the village. We approached the project from two angles. First, how to make use of these old mountain houses, and second, how to offer something meaningful to the tourists who come here. One of the highlights of Bayt al-Sharaf is the traditional winter room. Almost every home in the Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar has one. It was essential during the cold season. Families would gather here around a fire. You can still see the smoke stains on the wooden beams, which come from local olive trees. There's also the Dahjan room, the traditional space where rose water is distilled. This door, according to my father, is more than 200 years old. He used to say it wasn't built in my grandfather's time, but in my great-grandfather's. Today, Bayt al-Sharaf Museum stands as both memory and message, a space that reflects the rhythm of mountain life while opening its doors to visitors who seek to understand it. One of the museum's rooms, now called the photo room, used to be a storage space for firewood. Today, it displays rare and historical photos, including one from the mid-1970s, showing school children returning from a nearby Quran school, about 100 meters from the village. Among them are my older brothers. That is my brother Abdullah, who passed away in 2004, and this is my brother Ismail. This central courtyard, open to the sky, is another feature of the house. In the past, it was the only source of natural light. We, like our parents and grandparents, would gather here in the winter sun to stay warm. Many visitors leave the museum with a very strong impression. It's a small space, but it carries great meaning. Tourists learn a lot about the local culture and way of life. As an added service, we have also opened a cafe for visitors, offering views over the agricultural terraces of the Al-Aqar, Al-Sharija and Al-Qasha. Here, guests can enjoy Omani coffee, specialty coffee, tea and fresh juices while taking in the scenery. Yusuf Al-Amri's home has become a vessel for memory, where the past isn't just remembered, but lived again through every story and carried forward in every shared tradition. Reporting from the Wilaya of Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar, this is Saleh Bukhalfan Al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhiliya Governorate.
Thank you, Saleh. With investments exceeding 41 million Omani riyals, the public establishment for industrial estates Madain has completed a project to establish the basic infrastructure of Mhas Industrial City within the Wilaya of Khasab. More details in the following report.
With investments exceeding 41 million Omani riyals, the public establishment for industrial estates Madain has completed a project to establish the basic infrastructure of roads, water and sewage networks in the Mhas Industrial City within the Wilaya of Khasab. This covers a total area of 1.5 million square meters, aiming to contribute to the development of Musandam Governorate and enhance investment therein, aligning with the priority of developing sustainable governorates and cities within Oman Vision 2040. Madain successfully localized 8 projects in Mhas City last year, with an investment exceeding 2.5 million Omani riyals, spread over a total area of approximately 50,000 square meters. This raised the total investment volume in the industrial city to more than 41.74 million Omani riyals. Currently, the construction of the Madain Entrepreneurial Complex to support entrepreneurs and small and medium enterprises is underway. The complex will include 10 ready-made factories and various service facilities. Mhas Industrial City targets food security projects, logistics and light and medium industries of all kinds, benefiting from its strategic geographical location overlooking the Strait of Hormuz and its proximity to local and regional markets. Additionally, the readiness of the basic infrastructure enhances its operational efficiency and improves the quality of services and products offered to investors and entrepreneurs. This industrial city also boasts proximity to Khasab Port, Khasab Airport and nearby import and export gateways. Madain aims to expand the establishment of industrial cities and reinforce the Sultanate of Oman's position as a competitive hub for regional and international investments, driving sustainable industrial growth and enhancing national products while creating new job opportunities, contributing to the comprehensive and sustainable economic development.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate of Oman continues to facilitate the return of a number of citizens and nationals of other countries from Iran via Muscat International Airport. For the 9th consecutive day, Iran and Israel exchanged attacks as the foreign ministers of Islamic countries discuss steps to stop the military escalation. And dozens are killed by Israeli occupation forces in Gaza, and UNRWA renews its commitment to providing services to Palestinian refugees. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here at the newsroom and the studios. Thank you for watching and have a good night.